Hey gang, Mark LeBlanc welcoming you back to the Alley Cat Workshop. This is episode 7, I believe, in a series, more like a vlog really, on how I'm building this very massive cabinet for my former regiment, the Royal Canadian Hussars. This step was something that I considered to be the most complex in the entire build, because what I need to do here on both this side and this side is build a kind of a wall, if you wish, that's going to enclose this face of the cabinet. This piece of wood happens to be a parallelogram. So I've got both pieces here, and if you, let me just bring this up, you'll see that I've got, there we go, I've got a parallelogram on both of these faces. So that was not exactly very difficult. The angles on both sides are 70 degrees. Cut those out of the table saw. Life is good. Next thing was adjusting this piece of wood for the opening, making sure that it's actually flat and joins properly with the face frames of the cabinet. And if you saw my video, the last video that I took out, I realized that I had a problem. And my first initial impression on this particular section was that I had a bit of a taper. So in other words, this measurement and that measurement at the other end weren't exactly the same. I took a step back, and that's what I normally do when I find a problem, is I'll work on something else, or I will just plainly stop, go back into the house and do something and just carry on with my day there. But the idea is that I will take the time to think this through, let the problem sink in, and usually I come up with some ideas as to what is going on. When I came back to the shop about 3 days later, the first thing I did was actually take measurements between a number of different points and found out that everything was pretty much square. That was not the issue. What I found out was the issue was 3 things. First thing is, there is this middle wall here that joins the center and the rightmost cabinet. These things are screwed together. Great. But when I put this piece of wood on top, it would rub against especially the centermost or the center wall, and that would create a bit of it would push it up a little bit. So with a block plane, just fixed this, took out some of the excess wood, and then that helped the problem a bit. The second thing I did is I realized that this edge, the one that's going to go against the center cabinet, needed to be rounded up a little bit. Again, using a combination of a smoothing plane and a block plane, I got this smoothed out and rounded out so that it would fit. And the third thing I found out was that this piece of wood is actually a little bit warped. So once I put a clamp on that section, everything worked out really, really well. So I have a solution. This one is basically done. The other thing I've done, let me just place this over here, is I was worried, I had to think of, how am I going to attach this piece once it's stained and varnished over to the main cabinet. And of course I've been using pocket screws so far, but I was wondering, would one of the screws actually go through the piece of wood? So I have, this morning, came in, I bored a pocket screw hole, and I put a screw in here just to see where it would end up, and that's going to work perfectly well. So I will, before the end of today, put some holes on a couple of strategic spots on both this piece and this piece, and once it's time to permanently set this up, then I will have my solution. So that was for this side. The other side happened to have a little bit of a difference. First of all, the measurement between the points at the base and the points at the top were slightly off. 3/16 of an inch, which doesn't sound like a whole lot and isn't, but it's enough. So what I had to do was actually build a bit of a table. So again, table saw, put it 70 degrees, and with my smoothing plane, I took out more wood on this section of the face frame, less on this one, just so that I would have that table. And after a lot of trial and error, lots of planing, I got to a really good smooth fit. Again, I had to use my block plane against the some of the parts or some of the frames just to even things out. But all in all, lots of trial and error, I got to a point where I got my both pieces that are set properly. What's the lesson learned here? The lesson learned, first of all, if you recall, initially I thought that I had a taper. That was not the case. So you have a symptom. What is the root cause? Root cause may be something completely different. In my case, it was the middle wall. It was the piece of wood that was warped. Little things like that. So you have to address these one at a time. In this case, I had learned a lot from the first one, but I had to adjust my the fixing in order for, with respect to that particular situation. I have a solution that will work in both cases, so I'm very happy with this. It's time to put a finish, and I will not permanently attach this to the face frame because this piece is so big and so heavy. The next step is I need to put it back on its legs, and I won't be able to do that with all three pieces attached together. So, guys, you will have seen throughout this video little snippets of some of the techniques that I used to fix this problem, and hopefully that gives you some ideas. But if you've got a situation like this, this is lots of trial and error. But you'll get there. Be patient, you'll get there. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't done so. I'd appreciate it if you did. Hit that like button. I'd appreciate it if you did that as well. You know the drill. Talk to you very soon. Next time, we'll be working on some doors. Something I have never done before. Should be fun.